are going to share their retreat reflection. Please welcome Tom.
Good morning. I'm going to share a reflection that I made a journal entry. This morning I was startled awake at 3:50 a.m. by a vivid dream, my heart racing. I remember thinking, how could this be? I came here expecting to feel relaxed, rested, even blissed out from all the meditation and self-care. Shouldn't my dreams be peaceful? The kind that make you want to linger in them, to hit snooze and drift back in. Instead, I was wide awake. I got out of bed, took a sip of water, and realized I wasn't going back to sleep. So I grabbed my journal and quietly walked to the lodge in the cool early morning air, surrounded by the faint hum of crickets and a sky full of stars. I made a cup of tea, and here I am sitting down to collect my thoughts. And as I sit here, something has shifted. It strikes me how unusual this is. Not just waking up like this, but the dream itself. I've been having vivid dreams all week. That almost never happens at home. Somewhere along the way, maybe with the stress of life, I stopped dreaming, or at least stopped remembering. So why now? Sitting here with my tea, I'm starting to wonder if this is a sign that something here is working, that something in my mind is clearing. Wollongong had spoken about karmic dust, how it accumulates and clouds our awareness, like pollen gathering on the deck of the temple. Maybe that dust is finally being stirred up, cleared away. Maybe these dreams are what it looks like when the mind starts to process what's been buried for a long time. The theme of this retreat is we are one, we are whole. And honestly, that's never been something that's come naturally to me. Feeling whole. Over the past few days, I've caught myself asking more than once, when have I ever truly felt whole? But something is changing. I'm not just thinking about the idea anymore. I'm starting to feel it, even if only in glimpses. On day 3, Wollongong shared a passage. We are not fragmented, trying to become whole. We are whole, trying to remember that we were never fragmented. There's something about that landed deeply for me. It feels like it captures exactly what I've been missing, what I most need to believe. And part of me wonders, where have these words been all my life? Where was this understanding when I was younger, when it might have saved me from so much self-doubt and self-criticism? But if I'm being honest, I don't think I would have been ready to hear it back then. The forces shaping my life, my family, my experiences were strong. They reinforced this quiet, persistent belief that I was somehow fragmented, unwhole, not enough. So why here and why now? Because I didn't come to this retreat expecting this. I didn't come thinking I'd leave feeling whole. Truthfully, I didn't even fully understand what Wollongong intended for us. But she's created something here, something subtle and deliberate. Small pieces of wisdom offered at just the right moments, woven between meditation, qigong, movement, conversation, and reflection. Over time, it has started to settle in. And now I find myself returning to that question. Why here? Why now? And the answer feels surprisingly simple. Why not here? Why not now? Why not in this place, with these people, on this mountain? And maybe most importantly, why not me?
On April 10th, I and many practitioners like Tom drove to the idyllic North Carolina mountains to join that annual spring retreat that Reverend Wollongong had prepared for us. We gathered with the intention of deep practice and reflection, and some of us brought our own expectations for how the retreat would go. On the first night, Reverend Wangong shared, "Don't have any expectations for this retreat." It was in noble silence, and we were invited to renounce our phones for the entire retreat period in a phone letting go ceremony. With no phones, books other than the scriptures, speaking outside of essential speech, or other forms of distractions, every moment became an opportunity for quiet reflection and practice. When we first arrived, we had to sign up for a yogi dharma work role. And when I got in, I was very excited. I saw grounds work. You get to go and do various different things on the grounds with the director of the retreat center. So I signed up happily, excited to do various different tasks and activities. A couple hours later, the retreat manager came over and said, "I'm so sorry. We've decided to remove the groundskeeper role. You'll be doing dishes." I said, "Oh, okay." And learned not to have any expectations. Recently, in my grad school classes and at this retreat, we reflected on a poem from the third Zen patriarch. The beginning goes, "The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart." As I did the dishes throughout the week, I tried to adopt this mind of no preferences as warm water splashed on my hand, and I cleaned each of the plates and bowls. And after a while, I began to see the beauty in this mutual benefit, practicing together with a group of compassionate and thoughtful individuals. Doing the dishes was no longer a scary chore, but a joyful activity that I was reciprocating the grace that I was receiving during this retreat. Dropping everything was a big transition for me, and walking up down the mountain felt like being in an outdoor gym, like Reverend Wangong shared. And after a few days, my body adapted, and the retreat began to feel natural. And then it was time to go. I had a tent set up down by a small stream with a waterfall and spent a lot of my free time beside that stream. Beautiful flowers bloomed and butterflies flew carefree throughout the day, and the weather was also perfect throughout the retreat. The stream became one of my main points of contemplation. I noted how our minds can grow into patterns, flowing along the path of least resistance that we're most used to. Just like a mountain stream. Similarly, karmic obstacles can grow strong like boulders or piles of rocks and block the flow of that water, and it can feel like we're trapped in one constant pattern. But one of the main teachings of this retreat is that we have the agency to redirect the flow of our mind. We are whole right now in this moment. And the paths we've carved out are not the paths that we have to follow. In our original true nature, we have agency to reflect on our patterns and choose how we want to act. We are one, we are whole. In this way, the retreat was like a gentle rainstorm that surges the creek and gently breaks any barriers that are preventing its clear flow. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to practice at the Southern Dharma Retreat Center, and I'm especially grateful to Reverend Wangong, all the staff, and my fellow retreat members who navigated this retreat with compassionate grace and thoughtful practice. I hope to bring some of that quiet practice back home. and enjoy practice one step at a time.